Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
Douglas Holtz-Eiken was a huge value add for years and years. For some reason, over the last quarters, we have not had the expertise of Douglas Holtz-Eiken on the show. We're thrilled that he could join us in the American Action Forum. His public service with Senator McCain years ago, a GOP slant, yes, but always just exceptional scholarship out of Denison and Princeton. Doug, it's been way, way too long. Thank you so much for joining today. How far removed Douglas Holtz-Eiken is just traditional Republican economics and Republican labor economics? How far removed is it from President Trump?
This is an enormous shift in the Republican Party. I mean, it's almost unrecognizable from 20 years ago. And the characteristic of this era is that both parties are interested in using the power of the government as a cudgel for their purposes, and that's not a limited government personal freedom approach, not at all.
What is Kevin Hassett doing? I mean, I understand Pennsylvania doesn't have the quality of Princeton to the far, far north, but you and I know Kevin Hassett is a legit macroeconomist. How is he carrying water for the president? How do you see that, Douglas Holtz-Eiken?
I think that's a question you have to ask Kevin. I don't understand a lot of the Trump administration messaging on their policies. I certainly don't understand the strategy on their policies, and if Kevin understands it, I'd like to understand it better.
Doug, we had some fireworks at the Bureau of Labor Statistics last week when the jobs data came out here. Can you put that in context based upon your experience?
Well, the assertion by the president was that the commissioner rigged the data, and there's simply no evidence of rigging the data, and there's no opportunity actually for the commissioner to alter the data in any way if you look at the procedures that are followed. So it's a baseless assertion. It's something that I think is obviously detrimental to the institution. It undermines to some extent the credibility of the government's data, and you don't like to see that. And it was simply the White House trying to change the subject from the substance of the data, which is really poor jobs numbers over the past 3 months, to firing an official who's a holdover from the Biden administration. So it's an old playbook this White House has used a lot. I do think it has brought to the surface something that's really important, which is the diminishing potential quality of the data at the BEA and the BLS. And, now I think the general public understands that response rates have fallen, that the sampling sizes have gone down, and that initial estimates aren't as firm as they might be. So now the question is, will anyone get behind an effort to improve those data collecting efforts and strengthen those statistical agencies?
That's a good point, Doug. I mean, it kind of seems almost antiquated, going out and doing a survey in a world of digital opportunities here.
Yeah, can I say something about that, Paul? I mean, a lot of people brought this up. Like you should be tapping into the ADP or other payroll processors, but at some point, you actually have to do a census of things so that you understand what the weights are going to be on the ADP data. They census over sample large firms. So there is at some point the antiquated issue of going figuratively door to door and finding out what's out there, knowing what the relative composition of the labor market is, and that's an expensive and time-consuming process. But it needs to be done and be done better.
The hallmark of Holtz-Eiken work, folks, are single sentences that make you stop. May I quote? "The non-education, non-health private sector has lost 46,000 jobs over the past 3 months." Good morning, Nancy Lazar, who's been brilliant on this. I don't think, Doug, that's understood, that private sector employment is terrible ex the gifts of health and education.
It's dead in the water and has been. I've been confused by the sort of positive reactions to the recent labor market reports because, even before the revision, when we got 147,000 jobs in the previous employment report, 70-odd thousand of them were in state and local governments. Of the remaining 70-odd, 58,000 were in health. It's the only place that was generating any jobs. Everything else is dead in the water. So when I look at the labor market, I see a labor market where no one gets fired. That's great, but no one gets hired either. it is at a standstill, and that's really quite troubling.
So how to fold that over to Fed policy here? I mean, go to
Exactly.
60,000 feet, if you will. I brought it up today for the first time. Are we at a point now where this is so emergent that in 1 week or 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about a 50 beep cut September 17th?
I don't think we do see the basis for 50 basis points because, the Fed has a dual mandate, and the Trump tariffs have really put the Fed in the crosshairs because the inflation pressures are there, the labor market's really at a standstill. So the mandates are telling you to do different things, and how you balance that is an incredibly hard job.
Yeah.
People put different weights on inflation versus unemployment. They do, and we don't know how quickly this is going to work. So
Paul, I got to interrupt, Doug. This is too important. Paul, get one more in here. But does Holtz-Eiken look like he could be a Fed governor?
Oh, how about that?
I promise you, he does not look like he's going to be a Fed anything.
Exactly. So, Doug, let's just kind of put a bow on this with a discussion of tariffs here. I mean, tariffs are here. They are here to stay, it looks like, and it's whether it's 15, 18, 20% on an average basis. How do you think that's going to play out through this economy over the coming 6, 12, 18 months?
So I think, number one, you have the right time frame. People have gotten too accustomed to the notion that a pandemic or a financial crisis hits the Main Street economy, and we see real quickly what's going on. This is going to evolve over quarters and years, not weeks and months. And so we really haven't seen the impacts yet. It is unmistakable that tariffs of this size, so roughly $300 to $350 billion at an annualized rate, that's a very big tax increase. It is going to put upward pressure on prices, no way around it, and it's going to take purchasing power away from consumers, and that's going to slow the economy. So at some point over that 6 to 12-month horizon, we're going to pay the price in inflation and slower employment growth, and we're starting to see that, and there's no way out of that. The only question is, how big will it be and how fast will it happen?
His blue tie is sort of a governor blue tie.
Sure.
I think it is.
Solid book.
Douglas Holtz-Eiken, thank you so much. Wonderful. It's been way too long, Doug. We got to get you on here numerous times before Jackson Hole. Douglas Holtz-Eiken is public service at CBO. He's a president, the American Action Forum.